Hi, I'm Anna at the Sewing Studio, and in this video I am going to go through the Janome DKS30 Special Edition Sewing Machine. I'm going to talk you through all its features and functions, show you what comes in the box, get it threaded, show you how to thread the machine, do some sewing, show you its capabilities, and then talk a bit about warranty and the support that you get with us here at the Sewing Studio. Now we've separated those all out into chapters, so if there's a particular section that you want to see, feel free just to head over to that part. So the DKS30 is a computerised machine and it's a standard size, so that means you've got 6 inches of space to the right of the needle. It comes with 30 different stitch options, and those are all very easily selected with these direct push buttons here. It does a one-step buttonhole, and there's 3 different styles available depending on the fabric that you're working on. Up here you can adjust the stitch length and the stitch width, and the maximum stitch length is 5mm and the maximum stitch width is 7mm. You've also got an elongation button here. Now that is for these 3 satin stitches here. So yes, you can change the length and the width of those, but sometimes in doing that we end up distorting the pattern and the density of the stitch. So the elongation button allows you to increase those satin stitches to up to 5 times its original size, so you're keeping the same shape and density. There's also a twin needle setting. Now that's just a safety feature, so when you want to use a twin needle, press that button and it will stop you choosing any stitch that's going to cause a needle to break, like a zigzag or something like that. Now because it's computerised, it comes with a foot pedal, but it also has a start-stop button. It has speed control, so you can go very slow up to top speed, and top speed on this machine is 820 stitches per minute. You've also got your reverse button here, a locking stitch, needle up, needle down, and the automatic thread cutter. There is also a manual thread cutter just on the side here. The presser foot has the extra high lift, so you can get any bulky items in under there. Now this model comes with Janome's superior 7-piece feed dog, so it really is superior at feeding fabric and keeping it under control. You could also drop those feed dogs for if you're doing any kind of free motion work. It's got a built-in needle threader and a top-loading bobbin, so that just very simply drops in. You've then got the easy set, so you can lay the thread in there and there's no need to draw up the bobbin thread. It has an accessory tray on the front, and then you pop this off, and then that's your free arm for sewing any hems or cuffs. And then inside this is some handy, if I can get it open, it's easier when it's on the machine, handy storage for the accessories that come with it. Now, talking about the accessories, it comes with the standard foot that's already on the machine, a zipper or piping foot, a clear stitch foot, one for blind hems and for overcasting. And then you've also got your one-step buttonhole foot along with a stabilising plate for that foot. Plus a range of accessories. And you've also got your instruction book, an instructional DVD, power lead and foot control, and it comes with a hard cover. So this machine weighs just under 7 kilos, so it's quite transportable, and this helps to protect it when taking it around, or even keep it dust-free when you're storing it away. So let's get the machine set up, show you how to thread and some of its capabilities. Janome make their machines really simple to thread, and everything is numbered for you. So everything with a dotted line is for your bobbin, and then everything with the solid line is for the needle. So you just pop your spool on, and then a cap on the end, and you get different size caps depending on the size of spool that you're using. Now I like to thread with a bit of tension to make sure it's actually going everywhere that it needs to go. So I hold it here, and then I go under number 1, down number 2, around number 3, in the take-up lever number 4, behind number 5, which is right at the very top of the needle. Now for the built-in needle threader, it's very important that the needle's in the right position because these come down to the exact same spot every single time. So this button here pops the needle down and the needle back up again. So once it's in that up position, you know it's in the right place. Then you can just bring that down, lay the thread under, pop it back up, and you can draw the loop back. I've got quite a lot of thread, so I'm just going to cut a bit off on the manual cutter there. Pop that underneath. So that's the needle threaded. And then for the bobbin, you just want to pop the cover off. You want tail of thread to the left. Drop that in. Again, I like to do it under tension, so I just keep my finger on it to stop it spinning. And you just go under the lip and then around, and there's a little cutter there that cuts that off. And as I say, that's called the easy set, so there is no need now for us to draw up our bobbin thread. We can if we want to, but you don't have to. You can just start sewing. So I've not got the foot pedal plugged in. I am going to use the start-stop button, and I'll show you the different speeds. So when you first switch the machine on, it'll always default to the standard straight stitch. And then because it's computerized, it has already set a default length, and obviously the stitch width is in the middle position because you want the needle in the center. So I'm just going to drop that down, and I'm on slow to start. And to reverse, I just keep my finger on the button for as far back as I want to go, and then let go, and I'll come forward again. So slow, as you can see, is really quite manageable. So midway, it's not too bad, and then up to top speed. And what you can do when you're nearing the end of your sewing is keep your finger on the button. It will slow right down for you to just let go and stop when you're ready. Again, to secure those, you can just go back, leave it there, or if you want to come forward again, you just do a few more going forward. And this is the same if you're using the foot pedal. So just keep your finger on the foot pedal, keep your finger on the button for as long as you want to go back, and then let go of the button and the foot pedal. So I finished that row of stitching, so I'm going to press my automatic scissor cut. That's lifted the needle and a little blade has come out and cut the threads. So I'm just going to pop the presser foot up, and they're all trimmed so I can take that off. And that's your nice neat straight stitch, both top and bottom. Now there is another way of securing the stitches rather than doing the reverse, and that's this locking stitch button here. So sometimes when we're doing something decorative or top stitching, you don't really want to see the bulk of the reversing. So what you can do is press this locking stitch first. Just going to put the speed back down a little bit, and then press start, and you'll see the fabric's not moving and the machine is sewing 3 stitches on the spot, and that's now secured. So I'm just going to carry on with my row of stitching. And then I press the lock-in stitch when I want to finish. It does the 3 stitches, and that's it. So I press that one. And now you can see how on this one you've got a bit of bulk there on your reversing, whereas this one you don't have any of that. So it is much nicer and much neater. Some people use it when they're quilting, some people still prefer to draw it up, but it just gives a nicer finish on there. Now this button also has a second function, and that's a pattern end. So if you're sewing out one of the decorative stitches, so like number 25 for instance, you can press this button when you're nearing the end and it will finish the whole pattern before it stops sewing. So to select any of these stitches, you just very simply press the button. Not only does it tell you here what stitch number you're on, it also puts a light on the tile for the relevant stitch so you know where you are. So if I make a start on this, You could see that time when I pressed the locking stitch button, it didn't finish straight away. It carried on and finished the whole pattern before it then secured the stitches and stopped sewing. There you go, so it finished the complete one, and that just avoids when you've finished your seam and where you're going, like cutting it off halfway through, gives a much nicer effect. When it comes to changing the width and the length of a stitch, let's go to the zigzag number 7. Now it's already defaulted to a standard width of 3 millimeters and a standard length of 1.5. So I'll just stitch out a few of those. But it might be for the project you're doing, you might be doing some applique or something like that, and then you want the length to be a lot narrower. So you would just go down to where you want it and then make a start. Or it may be that you want it a lot wider, so you can go up to the full 7 millimeters. And 2 is the least that you can go, but let's do wide and a bit longer. And you can see again, I press the locking stitch to finish sewing and then secure the stitches. And there you can see the different types of stitches that you can get with your zigzag just by playing around with the stitch length and the stitch width. So let's take a look at the buttonholes. So you've got your 1-step buttonhole foot here, and what you do is you just open the back, pop your button in and close it up again, and then that determines the size of the buttonhole that needs to be sewn. And it'll always do it a couple of millimeters bigger than your button. Now this just snaps on, so I'm just going to push that for that to drop off. I'll just take some more thread out because that's a bit short. If I can grab it, there it is. And then I'm going to use the extra lift to just pop that in underneath and go up like that. So now I want to get this thread underneath the buttonhole so that it sews nice and neatly. And the easiest way to do that is just drop the presser foot, kind of do just 1 stitch and then just pull it through. That's in there. You could also have a pair of tweezers and pull that through, entirely up to you how you want to do it. So I've got cotton here, so I'm going to choose the standard buttonhole, which is number 26. And you can see on the screen here, it's telling me to use foot R, which is this buttonhole foot. And then this is telling me to bring down the sensor. Now the sensor is just behind the needle threader, and you want to pull that down until it can't come down anymore. And that's what determines the size of the buttonhole. It's what tells the machine to stop sewing down the side, do the bar tacks, and then come forward again. I will show you what I mean. So you just pop your fabric in, drop the needle. I always sew a buttonhole about midway because it's a nicer result. And it will beep to let you know it's finished. So I'm going to cut the threads, raise the presser foot, and there's your nice deep buttonhole. That's on the top and then underneath. And you can just carry on now and do as many of those buttonholes as you like. So next we're going to look at some different types of fabric. So I'm going to take the buttonhole foot off, pop the standard foot back on, We're going to look at some jersey first. So I'm going to pop a jersey needle on. And this machine takes standard needles as long as they've got the flat back. I'm just popping that up there. Now a jersey needle has a ball point, which is obviously suitable for jersey fabric. It doesn't pierce through the elastane in it. I didn't quite put that on right, did I? Hang on. And helps to stop with skip stitches and things that you can get with a standard needle on jersey fabric. So I've got my stretchy fabric, and having sewn with this before, I know the correct stitch is the triple straight stitch. And because it's so stretchy, I'm going to increase the length from the default just slightly, just so that it sits a lot flatter. And that's what you have to do sometimes, you know, when switching up material and changing. You need to just do some tests and see what works best to get the best results. And as you can see, that's sitting nicely. It's got a nice bit of stretch with the stitch. And the seam is lovely and secure. Moving on to the thicker side of fabrics, I'm going to sew through some denim. So I'm going to take that jersey needle out and pop a jeans needle in. So not only is this thicker, it is sharper as well to deal with the density of the fabric, and a bit stronger. So I just get that threaded. So I've got 2 layers of denim here. I'm going to go back to a straight stitch, and because it's thicker than the cotton we were using, I'm going to do a longer stitch than a standard. Not by much, only about 3, so up just a couple of points of a millimetre. And that's sewn through that with no problem at all. There's no skip stitches. It's nice underneath. And the seam is secure. So let's double that over. Just trim that off. Double that over and go through 4 layers now. And again, it's gone through that with no problem. That's the stitching line there through the 4 layers. Underneath is still nice and neat, nothing skipped. And the seam is secure. So let's go once more. So we're going through 8 layers now. So I'm going to increase the stitch length again, just slightly, by half. We'll go by half. And I could see when I was sewing that actually that the fabric was starting to kind of pucker under the foot. So I'm going to release the pressure that's on this just by a couple that will help with that. So use the extra lift to get it in underneath. Might just slow it down a bit. And there you go, a nice neat seam, both top and underneath. That's this line here. And again, it's still nice and secure. That's not going anywhere. So I hope that gives you a good insight to the capabilities of the Janome DKS30 Special Edition. And also how getting to know your machine and doing some tests and changing stitches, changing the stitch and the length to suit the project really can give you the best results and make the world of difference. So this machine comes with a 2-year warranty. You can also extend that to 5 years if you want to, and there's a card that comes in the box that explains that all to you. And don't forget, we're here at the sewing studio for anything that you might need. We're sewers ourselves and love talking about our machines, and we'll do our best to help wherever we can. So if you have any questions, any queries, just get in touch. Pick up the phone, have a chat with us, go on live chat, send us an email. We're more than happy to help. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.